We listen closely to you, the MSME entrepreneur, about issues affecting your business, and we bring you expert voices to address each of your concerns. And tonight, we're turning the spotlight on the number one concern which is being voiced by you, which is finance, and we're featuring a company that gives you insights on loans, credit cards, and personalized finance products. I caught up with BankBazaar. Take a listen to the founder's recommendations on how you should and can become financially literate. Thank you so much for coming down to our studios and speaking with us today. Let me kick this conversation off by asking you to talk to us about the kind of journey and how the industry has changed for your company.
So BankBazaar's been around since 2008. Our goal as a company is to help people access the right financial product. We believe it's a worthy goal because consumers, either end up talking to one brand, and a brand will always recommend its own products, or sometimes they talk to smaller agents who sell products for commission. BankBazaar, on the other hand, takes a long-term view. We don't sell products based on whether we make money or not. We help the customer access the right product. Furthermore, I think the biggest change that's come into the industry is the innovation in technology and paperless. So when we started 8 years ago, right, everything used to be paper. Your bank statements, your pay slips, your IT documents, your application form, your KYC. Today, that entire process is becoming paperless. So literally in 30 minutes of applying on BankBazaar, we're able to give you an approval on a financial product because your eKYC is done online, your e-sign is done online. So the biggest change in the industry is technology innovation.
Sure. Okay. Lots of interesting points. Let me pick up on each of those, and I want to start by talking really about technology and the role that technology plays in your industry. How has it changed, and what is going to be that one disruptor over, say, the next 5 years when it comes to technology?
Today, right, the mobile phone is turning into your branch or your insurance point of access, and anything you want, right, literally can be delivered on that mobile phone within 15 minutes. So technology is a game changer, right? And when I think of the future, I think the future is essentially going to be paperless. So you asked me what is that one trend? That one trend is paperless, and the democratization of finance in India, I believe, is not going to rest on putting a kiosk in every village or putting a center in every town. It's actually going to rest on a mobile device. In 15 minutes, I should be able to give you a fixed deposit, health insurance, a debit card, a mutual fund, literally in 15 minutes without any paper. That product should be delivered to your mobile phone, and technology can provide that. And the beauty of it is when technology does it right, your operating cost goes down to nearly zero because your technology is a fixed cost and the operating cost goes really low, which means you can access any town, any village in the country.
Okay, so two things out of that. One is you were talking about the cost of technology, and a lot of MSMEs write into us, say, I know that I have to start using technology more in my business, but I just can't afford the cost. What advice would you have?
See, BankBazaar is a tech firm, right? So our largest budget item as far as expenses go is the technology that we build. For us, we view it as a fixed cost. So what we say is that we need to build the technology upfront, the paperless, the eKYC, the e-sign, and that when it gets used by millions and millions of people, that technology cost is amortized. I think a non-tech MSME has a different kind of problem. So for me, I'm a tech MSME, so I'm investing and very good at it. For others, I'd say that, hey, at any point in time, it's a trade-off between fixed and variable, right? So would you rather, use inefficient offline processes and try and run with it, wherein your fixed cost might be low, but your operating cost continues to be high, or do consider, which is what BankBazaar has done, invest in that upfront fixed cost, which is technology, but the benefits accrue over a long time because technology scales up rapidly with very, very low operating costs. So I'd say look at that trade-off, and where technology can be used, right? I think the ability to leverage the financial ecosystem to use technology is very high today, and both the regulators and the government are supporting that.
You're talking about the use of the mobile and how the mobile is disrupting and going to disrupt your industry.
Right.
What advice would you have for MSMEs, when it comes to them deciding whether to have a mobile app for their business, whether they should have, mobile plus website or only website? Is this something they need to keep in mind?
Great question, Sunanda. I'd like to answer it in two ways. One is, if I look back 2 years ago, right, less than 30% of our transactions were coming via mobile. I'm excited to share on your show, right, that today 51% of our transactions actually comes from the mobile. I spoke to the largest financial marketplace in China, and the CEO there told me that 75% of his transactions are coming via mobile. So I think I have very clear line of sight that at BankBazaar, right, 70-75% of our transactions are going to be fully mobile in the next 2 years. Now, when you have an MSME who's thinking about strategy, I'd say that think mobile first, not mobile only. I think the lesson from the e-commerce world has been that give consumers multiple options, let them decide. Like I said, 49% of BankBazaar transactions still come from the desktop, so it's a mobile first approach. What mobile first means is that you build thinking of the mobile interface first versus thinking of the desktop and then porting it to the mobile. Now you think about mobile first because that's going to be a majority, but give people multiple options. If that means a desktop site, so be it. If it means a mobile site, so be it. If it means a mobile app, so be it. I'd say don't force the consumer, give the consumer multiple options, but bet that mobile is going to be the big bet for the future if you're thinking out to 2018.
Okay, I want to take a step back and talk
Sure.
about financial literacy as well.
Right.
On the Leaders of Tomorrow, we have a call-in show, and a lot of time MSMEs and entrepreneurs tell us
Right.
they're unaware of how to go about making themselves more financially literate.
Right.
What would your advice be?
So from the MSME angle, right, this has been learning on the job for me. So we've been through 3 rounds of funding at BankBazaar. So Amazon investment, a Sequoia investment, a Walden investment with Fidelity and Moose partners. We've also done 2 rounds of angel capital. Now this I've learned on the job. There was nothing that I could have learned at university, and I think the main thing I've learned is maybe have an advisor or a mentor who can advise you on the intricacies of when to approach a bank for a loan, when to approach a venture capital, when to approach angel capital. There's some resources available online, but I find that learning about this mostly I've learned on the job. Today information is available online. In fact, businesses like BankBazaar have taken it one step further. We're saying we're not only going to provide you information, we'll help you transact and access the product online using paperless technologies. So for the retail consumer, I think the big boon, right, is that today you are empowered online to have the same information that the top corporate executive used to have 10 years ago. Make use of it.
Okay, let's talk about the regulatory environment for your industry.
Right.
And I first want to talk about GST and whether it's going to be a game changer or not.
Right. So see, we come under the ambit of service tax, and we've been paying approximately 14% service tax in the current environment. This covers banking products, insurance products, savings and investment. So for us, it's an incremental change. So we'll be migrating from service tax to GST. So it's incremental. It's not a dramatic shift like some of the other industries are going to see, wherein 4 or 5 taxes are getting rationalized into one. It's more measured as far as BFSI goes. As far as the regulatory environment goes, right, I think the government of India, this Modi administration, with the Ministry of Finance and with the regulators, right, RBI, SEBI, IRDA, have been encouraging paperless. So we are seeing a lot of positive development. So SEBI in fact has said that if you're opening a mutual fund less than 50,000 rupees per annum, you can actually do it without paper. You just do eKYC and that fund is delivered to your mobile phone in 50 minutes. This I think is some world-class regulation. They're thinking of the future, they're thinking of how the internet is changing consumers' lives, and they're making new regulation for us, which I think is great, right? So they're saying that, hey, we understand you bring value to customer, we understand that your mode of operational is new, and even the IRDA, right, has come up with an independent regulation for web aggregators, which allows us to make use of paperless. So, kudos to the Indian financial regulators.
As I'm winding down this conversation, 2 last questions.
Sure.
And first, since we're talking about regulation,
Right.
in the Indian financial industry, in the financial services industry, is still very highly regulated.
Right.
What lessons could we possibly learn from our global peers?
See, I think Indian financial services is regulated for a reason. If you take insurance, for example, we're taking money from policy holders, promising certain benefits. Now, these benefits are fairly complex. So let's say you were buying a health insurance. I'll need to tell you, for example, are you covered if you're traveling abroad? If, for example, you need to travel abroad for certain medical services, will that be covered? What is your copay? Will you have to pay the first 1 lakh or not? And it's very important that I'm trained to explain this to you properly, which is why there's so much regulation around insurance. So I think it's important to have these industry regulated to start off the bat. Secondly, I think regulators are realizing, right, that what's happening in the internet is one good for the consumer because it's about transparency. If I'm showing you 20 offers out there and you are choosing the right offer on BankBazaar, I can't be misleading you, and also all the information is online. You want to know what is the claim settlement ratio, it's online. You want to know the grievance settlement ratio, it's online. You want to know the premium, the benefits, it's all online. So my chances of mis-selling to you are very low because it's out there in public. Any one of the 9 million people who came to BankBazaar in March are seeing the data. I think regulators recognize we're a new type of industry and is coming out with policy for us. Obviously, I think the key is now to enable paperless.
A quick last word. We were talking about digital earlier,
right.
and you want to tell our viewers about the product that you have, is enabling you to talk directly to people,
right.
Help them in their journey of financial literacy,
right.
and also help MSMEs and entrepreneurs along the way.
Got it. So we've been creating a lot of digital content, be it a blog, be it a Facebook page on BankBazaar, on Twitter, on Instagram, producing video shows on YouTube. What we're finding, right, is that for the first time in history almost, a young company like BankBazaar can expect to directly connect with the consumer via our website, via Facebook, via Twitter, via Quora, without having any media intermediating it. I think we have an aspiration today to be a household brand that every Indian knows will help them access the right financial product instantly. Now, this opportunity for MSMEs didn't exist 10 years ago because your entry point for a budget, right, to do a mass media campaign was very high. But today, using digital technology, right, we produce a video show. We did something with HDFC Life, and that has 25,000 views on Facebook already. Now 25,000 people have consumed our content organically, and we're a growing brand. So I think MSMEs today should realize that social is creating brand new opportunities, and they can directly connect with lakhs and lakhs, if not millions of consumers, if they can produce engaging content.
Let's take a quick break. When we come back, we'll feature Square Yards on our Bright Spark segment.